Я мала нагоду бути на спеціальному показі фільму «Міф» в Отаві і розповім, як канадські парламентаристи і почесні гості сприйняли цей фільм.
Well, we're here with members of Parliament, the diplomatic community in Ottawa. We did a premiere for them, for VIPs here, of the film Myth. UCC is very proud to be an organizational sponsor of the film, and we thought it was important to have the film shown to national leaders in Canada so that they see it and then they are able to go and tell the story further to their colleagues. We had a number of members of Parliament from all the different political parties. We had various ambassadors, various members of different embassies and their diplomatic corps, as well as some of the Ukrainian community leadership in Ottawa, and of course some of our global affairs, foreign affairs staff that we work with on Ukraine. So these are all people that work on the Ukraine file with us and understand what's happening there, and we thought it was important to have them see this important film to be able to tell their colleagues and to really feel it in their hearts.
It was really the parliamentary group that it was more important that they see this movie and that they become the partisan sort of guerrillas that will be propagating and encouraging people to see the movie. But also they are decision makers, and we are facing some tough decisions. As I mentioned, I was asked to say a few words at the end. As I mentioned, what has stopped Putin's global hybrid war? It seems amorphous. And I've said this often, it seems amorphous, but it is a global war. We don't call it a world war in the 20th century sense, but it embraces the whole world, and it's a war about values. And perhaps the most active part of it was this revolution of dignity. That's when it really broke the surface, what the world was facing. And this global hybrid war has a front. It has a front line from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. And there's an active component. Every day, people are bleeding. The cities are dying, fighting Putin's war of aggression. They are our shield. They're not just fighting for their villages, their towns in Ukraine. They're fighting on behalf of the liberal democratic West, the values that we all subscribe to, and that this global hybrid war looks to undermine.
What Putin's been doing is trying to reestablish the Russian Empire. Not the Russian Federation, but it's the Russian Empire. And really, Georgia, Donbass, Crimea, even Transnistria in Moldova. Those are the testing grounds. How far can he get away with occupying and annexing, sovereign territory of other countries without the world saying a damn thing? And the actions that we've had so far have been as far as countries are willing to go, which is sanctions, and maintaining those sanctions, and I'm happy for it, and I'm happy for the role that we have played by both the Harper government and Trudeau government. We've maintained those sanctions and increased them. We've provided the aid, help with reform. But do we allow the invasion to continue? And how far is Putin going to push the limits? And that's why we keep saying that Canada has to stay united with Ukraine. The world has to be united with Ukraine. And with Putin being provoked by weakness, that means we have to be strong.
I think that film, and this film in particular, is a very powerful way to tell the story of what's happening in Ukraine. And so we support this film, we support other films, because it's really the best way to show people the reality of what's happening, to show them the sights and the sounds and almost the smell of what's happening. The guests who have spoken here tonight were very moved by the film, by the story of Vasily Slipak, the story of his ultimate sacrifice. But I think also the story of the war is not over. That although we may not see all the victims every day, they're not all as well known as Vasily Slipak, but nevertheless the casualty count continues, the war continues unabated, and I think they were very moved by the way that the filmmakers were able to tell that story. And I feel now in the next steps, taking this movie to film festivals will be another way to reach the wider Canadian audience.
And that speaks to the artistry of the producers, the documentary makers, because they were able to capture a certain spirit. And that's so difficult. How do you capture a person's spirit? And perhaps we haven't seen the full complexity of his spirit. But Vasil, clearly, at a certain point in his life, he was a bon vivant. You could see that. He was living the dream. He embraced life. But then he really came alive when he knowingly embraced his fate, death. And that came through in this documentary. And that perhaps was the most difficult of emotions that I believe the audience had to deal with.
People just couldn't realize that he was prepared to sacrifice himself and lose a talent that he still could share with thousands. But I hope that through this story, that his skill and talent as an artist will continue to resonate, and that his legend will allow people to see that the war in Ukraine is real and it's taking place today, and that we all have a responsibility to tell that story unless we forget. No, I think it's great that what we have here are not just, Canadian diaspora and friends of Ukraine. It's people from the foreign services, people from the Canadian government at all different levels, and it's just another demonstration that each and every one of us, regardless of our ethnicity, all proud Canadians, but we're Ukrainian patriots and we're united for Ukraine.
The Ukrainian Canadian Congress is very proud of our branches who across Canada stepped up to co-organize this event with Допомога Україні. We're very proud that many organizations exist across Canada that help Ukraine, help Ukrainian soldiers and veterans, PTSD and other issues. I think it speaks to the strength of our community that we have well-developed professional organizations that when we go to the Government of Canada, we have literally a booklet that we can show them of the difference and the impact that our community makes. And that really is important. They're professional organizations, they're well-financed, well-researched, and they do important things. And so, I guess from the National Ukrainian Congress perspective, we have a wealth of expertise in our community that we're very proud to see working on that, and we're happy to help facilitate that, because we know, the conflict in Ukraine is not near an end, and Ukraine will require many kinds of assistance for years to come. And so I think this film is a reminder of our duty as Canadians, as Ukrainian Canadians, as citizens globally, to contribute and to not be, as they say, baiduzhi, to not stand at the side and just complain about what we see going wrong. It's really our obligation as citizens to contribute with our dollars, our time, and our hearts, in this case with the film, to tell the story and to help those who need our help.